Oh, hello guys, welcome back. Now I think I understand why Odin's been challenging me on a lot of stuff. Because we're getting to the point now where he realizes that Odin is tanking the channel ever so slowly. And, it's just a middle ground you learn to walk on, you work with both of them. When you work with Loki, just Loki, a lot of people will say Odin has to be the enemy. And if you work with just Odin, they'll say Loki has to be the enemy. Hope I got that right. Um, and I work with both of them, and I'm here in the middle all alone because the hardcore Lokeans don't want anything to do with me because I'm consorting with the enemy, and the hardcore people that work with Odin don't want me because I'm a filthy Lokean. So it's kind of a lonely road to walk. Plus, I have all these other gods, and then there's this, fringe group in heathenry that doesn't want you to work with any god except for the one god you work with. God forbid it's Loki. Um, I've seen groups where the way they deal with the problem of Loki is they pretend he didn't exist. If you read their writings, it will be the gods got all these gifts because they got all these gifts. The Dwarfs made it for them and gave them to them, and they gave them to them, absolutely free because the dwarves are really nice and sweet and everything, and there never was a Loki, never will be. I'm like, okay, then how does Ragnarok start in your mythology? Like what? Loki suddenly appears the day of Ragnarok? How does this work? And again, guys, I'm not picking on people's belief, but we're definitely going through the thing where Odin's having me tear apart everything. Odin's good like Loki for letting you build a huge mammoth palace up and get very comfortable with it and then tear it all down and laugh and dance in the ashes. They will both do that. They're so frighteningly alike. And they've started a new trick with me. Loki will refer to Odin as Loki, and Odin will refer to Loki as Odin. And they're confusing the hell out of me, and they're basically both running circles around me, going ha 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 ha. And I was working with Odin today, and I told him, a lot of stuff upset me about what that preacher said. I said, some people would say, well, if you're going to be a heathen or a pagan, you shouldn't listen to these people anyways. But if you work with Odin, your curiosity drives you. It really does. Um, I said, how could they claim to serve Jesus, and yet they don't believe he could work miracles? They don't believe he healed the sick. They don't believe he raised the dead. They don't believe he did anything. They don't even believe he's part of the Godhead. They just believe he was some dude that lived 2,000 years ago. And he's just a perfect example of what a person could be. And I'm like, what? The table flipping and the hitting people with whips part? Which people is it? The insulting speech about people being sheep? Jesus didn't mean that as a compliment. Which part are you going into? And it's just weird. They kind of cling to Jesus, but they don't worship him. And the Catholic in me that I thought was dead got up and said, what? What did they just say about Jesus? Oh, and I'm talking to the dead Catholic in me that's supposed to be good and dead and gone. Oh, Jesus isn't Son of God. Christmas is just for, I don't, I don't know. I guess don't celebrate Christmas. They what? And the inner Catholic, supposedly dead Catholic in me just started like, and I was like, okay. And I was like, to me, that's a huge disrespect. And they claim, I can't stand people that lie, you know that. They claim that you're absolutely free in that church, yet they have a dogma. And they claim that you can do whatever you want, but don't pray to Jesus. Don't pray to any god. I'm like, this isn't even a religion at this point. I know what the hell you're doing, but this is not a religion. Religion is pretty damn sure, I'm pretty damn sure it involves some deity at some point. And they're talking about this vague thing they want you to do, like achieve. Basically, they're talking about achieving nirvana and achieving Buddhahood, but they're putting it in Christian terms. And I'm like, this is why we don't just go pick everything and throw it into the blender and hit parade, because we hit these blocks. And it made me mad to see them tell people to give up their free will, and the Odin part of me too was really angry. I'm like, why would they not fight to protect somebody they love? Because they're telling people they can never, ever, ever commit violence. Like, if somebody's breaking into your home, if your country's in trouble, If the zombies arrive, there's never an exception. Okay, you can get eaten. I totally respect that some people are pacifist and won't fight. That's fine. But to demand all the people in your church do this, I'm like, this is officially a cult. It's a very strange cult. And Odin used it to reset a lot of stuff, because there's no secret to the fact that when you start working with Odin, people get nervous. Either they get nervous as Lokeans because they think that you're now in the enemy camp, or they get nervous because they think that um, you are one hero away from wearing a brown shirt and stomping around and doing terrible things. There's no way around it. People automatically think that if you start serving Odin, you're on your way to neo-Nazihood, and of course I'm not. And the thing is, you see so few people that stand up against the hate, stick around. I looked at Hugin's Heathen's Hoff, and I've been looking at that, and I realized that all these hate groups had taken over the comments section. And if you go to their comment section, it's nothing but racist hate groups and everything else, and these people tearing the site down. And I'm like, well, there must not be an administrator left alive, or they won't be doing this. But then I went on Facebook and I found them, and they're alive and kicking on Facebook. So I don't know why they're letting the hate groups run around there, because they're, they have that declaration and everything, and that's everything they're not. But they're allowing the hate groups to run around there and call them names I won't repeat on this channel because I don't call people those kind of names. It's one of those things that a certain artist had in a song, and he got brought up, and rightfully so, to say you can't use offensive religious slurs in a song. That's not cool, bro. So he had to start bleeping it out of the song. And it was just this thing about when you serve Odin, you do have to learn this balance of the warrior that he will bring out in you. You will be on Pinterest, even if you've never been in the military. You will be on Pinterest. Oh yeah, pinning all this stuff on his word, which is why his word's set to private. But then he kind of lets that wind down, and you become peaceful, and Odin's getting Yule pins and kittens and all this other crazy stuff. And you have to learn to walk the line between being willing to be a warrior and fight for what you want and the peaceful part, and sometimes that's a challenge. And then Loki decides to come over and help because Loki. And, I've been having a lot of questions lately from the gods, and they're not being very forthcoming. And I said, like, who's sending all the bird omens? First, I think it's Odin, then I'm sure it's Loki. And I found a crow feather. It was mangled beyond repair, and I wanted to bring it back home. And I'm going to go bring it back home, and this was yesterday. And instead I found like a big gray feather. I don't know what it was for, but gray is like a color associated with Odin, right? And I heard this laughter. This deep masculine laughter, kind of like sinister. And I like turned my head to see if guys were working at the ballpark or something. I couldn't see anyone, but with my poor eyesight, that means nothing. But it was kind of like Odin poking at me. And I've seen crows twice, at least I thought they were crows, because they were all black, flying and not making a single sound. And they weren't flapping either, think of it, they were just gliding. So I don't know what Odin's up to, other than a lot. It's no secret he's not giving up his heathen campaign. He said, I don't care if you just wear it as a label, but I want you to pick this up because this is important, this is for your training. Because if Odin decides you're going to get some kind of training for something, you're going to get it whether you like it or not. And Loki's still here. Loki's still here as much as Odin is, but when it's time for Odin's training, Loki's perfectly happy to sit back and let Odin do whatever Odin has to do. Then he pops in, usually right in the middle, and he's like, what you doing? Doing this Odin stuff. Why? 'Cause he said so. Uh-huh. What you supposed to be learning? I have no idea. Do you know? No. Have fun. And then he's off. And so he's having fun because he knows I have his fine-minded ideas of what I'm going to do each day. And Odin's like, no, you're going to do this each day. So it's just been Odin challenging me constantly. And apparently that's perfectly normal. When you work with him, you'll come to these times where he's just challenging you and pushing you and shoving you. And you feel like you both have spears and he's doing training, like when you go for martial arts training and you're doing the weapons training. That's what it feels like at this stage, because he was doing the who was God thing last night, and he was really, for hours we were doing this for hours, and so I was exhausted when I got up. So I think Odin's trying to kill me. I I think if I'm so exhausted I'm dead, he's trying to kill me, but I know what he's doing. He's trying to flush all the poison out of my system. He doesn't want me to become one of those crazies that gets on here and screams, oh, blah, 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 about, anyone who's not pagan or something. He doesn't want that. But he would still have us point out stuff that's wrong and to tell people, because I know all sorts of people watch a channel. You should never go to any kind of church or huff or circle or anything that doesn't let you think for yourself, or says, oh, you can think yourself, but here's a list of 20 things you can't do. And these people were screaming repeatedly in these videos that they hate that people think that you can join that church and do whatever you want. I'm thinking, uh-oh, I thought they were open. So I really don't understand for the life of me how pagans could join this church when they won't respect any form of God, and they say every form of God is wrong. And I felt our God sitting there like, well, now, okay, okay, but you have something happen and you'll be reaching out to one of us. Maybe we'll be busy. They won't. They're not petty, but you know what I mean. So it's been something else. I think sometimes Loki will attract us to stuff that's bad for us, and then Odin uses it as a learning opportunity. So it's been something. Odin and I did have the talk. I said, the more I work with you and the more videos I end up making on you, the channel's just gonna go psh. But I had a healing crisis last night, and I said, I don't care. I said, when you're in that much pain and you need that much help that fast, I said, you realize that there's no amount of money, no amount of viewership, no amount of owning property or anything else that's worth anything. You would give up all of it in an instant to get rid of the pain. And Odin came through, so I'm like, okay, if the channel goes, the channel goes. And I did talk it over with Loki, and Loki's like, I'm not going to protect you from the stuff Odin wants you to learn. He says, we want you to walk the path with both of us. And they're well aware some people only walk with Loki, and some people only walk with Odin. And tough noogies, I'm going to walk with them both, which means I walk that lonely middle road a lot of people walk. So if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.